So this is my 2TB Batocera build. It's on a Optiplex 3040, which is your 6th gen i5, 3.3 GHz. I'll have a quick look through. Obviously I haven't got no videos or pictures. It's great. I'll load a quick game. This is not like the crap that you get up at internet. Well, it says they've got 60,000 games on a 256 gig card. This is 2TB and it's got about 30,000 games. There's no ACT games on here. I've tried my best not to get any duplicates. I've took them all off. I've tried to hide the second disc and third disc of games, so you're not going through thousands of games that are all the same. I brought one a bit back that was 175 quid. And it said it had 60,000 games on it. There were about 20 versions of each game on it. It's absolute bull. So I'll just show you a few games working on each system. There we go. Shows that's work. Press a random game. We'll come out of that. Main, obviously, 2,500. On that system I brought, it said it had about 7,000, and there was every revision to every game. I just keep it so there's one of each, you know. So we'll random game it. Random game it. Sorry for the crap quality. I haven't got any video capturing software up. That's all I've got is my iPhone on my sugar tub. So I'm hoping it's picking it up. Do a 500 gig build, a 1TB build, a 2TB build. Your 500 gig builds all your standard stuff. The best stuff on there is your PlayStation 1. There's about 750 games. Sega Saturn is 280 odd or whatever it is, and same with Dreamcast. There's about 300 Dreamcast games. And the 1TB build, it's the same system basically, but it's got more PlayStation games on it. It's got about 500 GameCube games on it, and it's got about 500-600 PSP games. I'm not certain off the top of my head. And this is same again, same build, more PlayStation games, more GameCube games, more PSP games on my 2TB one. And it's also got 450 PlayStation 2 games on it, and about 70 Xbox games. Struggles a little bit with a couple of them. It's not as powerful. It's sort of pushing it to its limits. Most of the games on PlayStation 2 work okay, but then when you get to your God of War and stuff, you get a bit of stutter, a bit of slow down on it. But alright, I don't even know what started that game then. Well, there you go. You see it's working. There's so many systems, so I don't want to spend too much time on each. The Atari 2600. Oh, sorry, I'm stopping games. Amstrad CPC 1,945 games. Atari 2600, 652. I'm not going to click them because they work on everything. 72 games on your 5200. Atari ST is one that I've just changed. There's only 308 games in there a minute. There were 3,500, but there were probably 2,000 of them were French and German. So instead of going through them all, I've shortened it down. But I will probably add more to that. But Atari 7800, 59 games. Atari Lynx, 83 games. I'll just show you. Let's do a random game. Hockey. I'm not going to click every system. You see it works. Nice bezel, so it's not stretching out full screen. You know, look, it's all working. Back out of that. I'd say with what I tested, probably 95% of games on here work. You know, you will get a few issues with some of your computers and stuff. Most of your consoles will all work. And probably about the same amount have got all the videos, so everything scrapes for them on everything. There's only odd system that ain't got everything on it. Atari Jaguar, which was a crap system anyway, but it's there. Atari Jaguar 54 games. Ballast okay, doesn't got the actual console theme video there. Bandai Wonder Swan colour. Wonder Swan there's 110, Wonder Swan colour 197. I was toying with not putting that on because most it's Japanese, but there's some translated stuff on there. Stuff you can play. Calico Vision 169. Commodore 64, there's 8,000 games on there. A lot of them are like more than one disc, so you can't take that as a exact amount. A lot of these have got videos, a lot of them are just pictures. But same when you're coming into these sort of games, these are where you might get issues with our game not working and whatever else. And some take a long time to load up. You think they've hung up or crashed and they're actually still working. You get your virtual keyboards on them like this. So that's that. You have to go back in the virtual keyboard and press run stop. I know full well that game's work because I played it. It used to be one of my favourite games, 180 years ago on Spectrum. So yeah, there's loads in there. There's not many repeats, but I've tried to go for it best I can. Commodore 1941, Amiga CD32 107. I mean, we'll have a look. Got a random game on. Naughty Ones, never heard of it. Most of your computers have got their virtual keyboard, but you might have to use it. Most of these consoles are literally obviously all set for your joystick, you don't want to mess about. There we go. Let's pause. There you go. And then click on the Amiga one. See Amiga 1200. There's going to be games in here that don't work. I've clicked on loads of them. I've tried loads. Like I say, it's probably well over 90% of games have worked. What I've tried on the whole system, not just on a certain console or computer. There we go. I don't know what the hell's meant to be going on there. Well, that's your Amiga. Channel F, 33 games, Scum VM, which is all your point and click adventure games. Some really good games in here. Take me back. I used to play loads of these. Curse of Monkey Island and Billy Steel Scar, that was a good game. There's also a lot of good stuff in here for kids like this. If you've got a young kid, really good for all this kind of stuff. There's 212 of them. In television, another like old Atari type. 140, and you've got your Xbox, 72 games. Like I said, this pushes it to the limits. Really, on this, you will get slowed down on certain games. There's certain games that run sound. So I don't know, just try like Dead or Alive 3. Thing is with this actual system, I'm not running it through it at the minute, but it's got a GT 1030 low profiling, which I brought specifically for this. They're 100 quid on Amazon, but you can get them for like 60 quid or whatever off eBay. And when I plugged that in, these was running flawlessly at 60 frames per second, your Xbox and your PlayStation 2. But obviously, as a rule, I'm bypassing that a minute and just running it on board, so I can show what the system's like without the graphics card in. One thing I'll tell you, I'm absolutely shit at fighting games. I never liked them, never got on with. But there you go, that's your Xbox running. So certain games you'll put on Driver 3, I know that was slowing down, but I put the graphics card in, to be fair, and that still slowed down. All these games on here, there's only 70, but every single one works. I put about 300 games in and went through and make sure every single one works. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas runs perfectly. Without the graphics card in, it runs absolutely flawlessly. Halo 2 run okay, run good. So, Turbo Graphics, 323, that's got your PC Engine as well mixed in with it. I didn't want to put them as two separate. Didn't want to put them as two separate systems. 323 games, there's quite a bit of Japanese stuff in there. There's a lot of translated stuff, and then again there's like a lot of English stuff. So it's not a bad little system. Now it's obviously 911 games. On that system I brought there about 3,500 in it, and there was 20 copies of Super Mario Brothers in there at one. There's a couple of games there with that. Need scraping, I'll sort them out. A few, I didn't know what. But anyway, what's happened there? Because I scraped them all before, I'm sure. You get no issues with any of these older consoles. Everything runs flawless, absolutely perfect. I'm just going to come straight out of it. Game Boy again, was it 829 games? I've just put the Game Boy colour on. I haven't scraped that yet. I've only scraped to that. The scraper's running really slow today for some reason. But I've only scraped about 100 games out of 500. I'd say. Like the little bezels what they put on. Obviously stretching this out off a Game Boy, you wouldn't be able to read it, you wouldn't be able to see it on it. So same again. That's that. Super Nintendo, same again, 803 games, they just run flawlessly. You won't get a game that don't work on it. There'll be definitely no videos, a lot scraped in there. I'm surprised the Super Nintendo is. It's something that's obviously slipped through. Nintendo 64, 316 games. This is one of my favourite ever consoles back in day. The one that they all test for running your emulator on really is F-Zero. So we'll have a quick look. This is without the graphics card in, so. That's running full speed, 100%. You can probably bump the graphics up. You can go into each game and mess about with it. You can change other different systems, set the different resolutions. You can put some of them 4K, 8K. That's Game Boy. That's Game Boy Color. I've just put that on 591 games. There's not many be scraped at that. Half of them won't be scraped at all. I've not clicked any yet to see if they work, to be fair, but I'm pretty sure they will. Yeah. There we go, I'll come see it back out of it. I'm going to drag it on forever. GameCube, 359 games. This one. I thought there was more than that. But... again, this. Same again. We'll try the F-Zero. Because it's one that a lot of them test. With the graphics card in, I put it up to 1080p. 1080p and it runs flawless, 60 frames a second. You get a bit of slowdown on the menu on this, and you think the game's going to run slow, and then when it actually starts, so yeah, you've got your little thing on the bottom corner, which I haven't took off while we're testing the frames per second on the graphics card. But sometimes dips. It's weird, this one. That way you can hear a bit of slowdown, a bit of stutter on the audio. Especially there. You see the frames the same dropping down to like 15 frames per second. To be fair, I might have kept this on 1920 with 1080. Looks like I have, to be fair. Right, one sec. So, yeah, it's on 1080p, you see. That runs perfect with the graphics card in, but as a standard, they still look good. You tell with graphics, not as good, but that's 60 frames a second. It's on the lower resolution. And this is one of the hardest games to run on it, so if this runs 60 frames a second, everything else will floor it. What's that? Game Boy Advance, 1051 games. You're not getting any issue with any of these, they all run perfect. I'm clicking random games as well, so you can see I'm not just picking games that I've chose. I'm clicking random games. I'm really liking this Batocera. I've tried. I've got Launchbox Big Box, which is really good. I used to use the Hyperspin, but I just had probably 4 systems on Hyperspin that just dropped one day and wouldn't load up. That's that. Great graphics. But yeah, it just totally stopped working for no reason whatsoever. And I had it happen like 3 times on different builds. I knew how to fix it, but it was just a pain in the arse doing it. Nintendo DS 2094 of them. And they sort of, let's have a look, let's get a bit of a better game than crosswords. Whoops. Whatever these are. Yeah, boxing. What you get with these is your right hand thumbstick is your pointer. You can click that so you can put that full screen. Because you can't read it on the right if you have it in this setup the way I had, but I prefer it like this. I don't even know how to punch him or anything on this. So yeah, see it works, so that's the general gist of it. Nintendo Wii, there's 23 games in here. Now, I'll just show you one that I know. It's a bit awkward to use because you use your right thumbstick for the sensor basically. On stuff like this it's fine, they run okay. I like to pick certain games that you can use with your controller. There's some games, a lot of games like where you have to twist the Wii remote and stuff, obviously you're not going to be able to do that on there. But you can buy Wii sensor bars for like 20 odd quid and use your Wii joysticks on. Apparently they run absolutely brilliant. That's the dead too. So I know full well it's your right thumbstick and your Y button to shoot on this. Skip. Great game this way. As you see, I'm trying to do it on the left thumb on the right thumbstick. It's a bit of a pain, but it shows you it works. I'll click a random one as well, so you know I'm not just looking at them. But I've actually personally been through all these and made sure they work with the joystick. There's only 30 odd games, 20 odd game or whatever, so a random game it needs speed and nitro. I've got about 500, 600 Wii games. And apparently if you get used one of them bars with them, they're flawless. Might something to try, have a look at. You get this through a lot of EA games with them lines down the screen. You get that, it's only on the FMV, the video. Straight as you start the game, it's not there. But it always seems to be the EA games. All the James Bond games do it. Again, right mouse, your right thumbstick's your pointer, which can be really awkward to control on certain games. But I've tried to put the ones on that you could have fun with. I've tried to. Let's go with arcade. Remembering buttons. Steering assist. I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, I've tried this, and when you put that steering assist on, you just press the accelerator button and it just drives itself. Which is pretty pointless, but slow down on that a little bit on the video. So the title and play. Yeah, massive slowdown on that. I don't know if that's set to a high resolution, but I might be able to mess about and turn resolution down, make it run a bit better, but come out for that. So you can use, you can be played the Wii's. Nintendo 3DS is coming off, I was just doing that as a tester. Panasonic 3DO, 14 games. Ports is already built into Batocera, just a few PC games. Thomas Wave, which is basically a Dreamcast in an arcade cabinet. That's Dolphin Blue is the game that a lot of them test because there's a certain part at the start where it'll slow down on a lot of the crappy systems like the Super Console X Pros and stuff. This won't slow down on the same part. It always seems to get dead loud on this game for some reason. Let's take it to that bit that slows down. Oops. Yeah, this is the bit where it slows down, and most of them, if you have a Super Console X or whatever, you'll see it. No slow down whatsoever on this. That's that. I'll stick a random game on as well. Go to the volume, won't turn it up now. To be fair, I don't think they emulated the sound very good on these. The Thomas Wave, because they sound very funky and crack with the sound.
Stage 1. Earlier building.
Good start. What? There you get the gist. Sega SG-1075 games that are basically the first Sega before the Master System. I think it just came out in America and Japan, and then Europe took a look at it and said we want something like that, so they made the Master System. A lot of Japanese game in there, a lot of English stuff as well. So Sega Master System 319. Again, these are all flawless. You won't get one of these that won't work. I'd be gobsmacked if any games didn't work on any of these older ones like this. Got the bezels at the side as well. No picture of the Sega. What's going on here? I have no clue. Don't know what I'm meant to be doing. Old classic Wonder Boy. Oh yeah. So that Genesis Mega Drive, 831 games. Again, everything's got videos. Random game, NBA. See it works, there you go. Game Gear, 262 games. Oops. Shut up, man. Same again when you load these. Random game. It'll put your bezel on so it's the actual screen in the old Game Gear, which is smart. Again, I'm not going to leave them on too long, I'm just showing you the work. Sega CD, it's basically a Mega Drive with a CD player on. Sega Saturn, 273 games. It's one that I started going through them all because there's 3 different cores, there's 3 different emulators for Sega Saturn. And that was a random game, I'll try that. Some work on one, some work on the other. And I started going through them all, but I got down to like 8 and I lost will to live, so. So anything before 8 you have to check, but anything after you might just have to change the core, which is easy to do. This could be one of them that's not going to work with this core. So we try it, I'll show you what I mean. In the Hunt, advanced game option, say emulator. It's set to that as standard. Then you've got your Cronus Beetle Saturn. Cronus is meant to be really good. It's meant to have a 92% compatibility rate. I don't believe it. Beetle Saturn's a little bit more demanding, but we'll try that. You tend to find 1 out of 3 will work. And once you've used it, obviously it saves it, so it'll every time you load it after that, it'll use the same core. There you go. There's a bit of messing about, but I was doing it. It got to 8, and it took me ages. So, I say once you've done it once, it's done. There you go. Anyway, it's all working now. Genesis 32X. There's only 35 games in there. Another one that's not been scraped, I'll have to do that. Dreamcast, 309 games in your Dreamcast. Again, this uses Redream. Redream is a really good emulator. I've not clicked on any of these that don't work. I'll probably do it now and none not work, saying that. Well, these run flawless and look good, run mint. They're set to 1920 by 1080 as well, I think. Good system, Dreamcast, a really good system. Some great games on it. There you go, anyway, you see that's working. So anyway, we'll just, oh yeah, different button to exit that, it's just your back button. So, what's the obvious one? Blue Stinger. That was a great game on Dreamcast, really good, really like that. Obviously you've got your Crazy Taxi 1 and 2. See them running.
Hey, come on over. It's party time. Let's have some more rhyme. Let's go make some crazy money. All right, let's get it on.
Oops.
Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go. Right here.
Get in. These run mint, all the Dreamcast ones are really good. It's flawless to be fair. Shut that down. Select Spectrum, 419 games. It's one of my first. ZX81, my first ever computer. Spectrum was one that I loved from my childhood. A lot of these games came out, I can remember that after the war. But you'll find there'll be games in here that don't work on your Spectrum. But what you'll find as well is you use your virtual keyboard. A lot of the games will have an option to redefine your keys. So, I don't know if it's going to do it here, but when you click redefine keys, you know, that's what it's set really. Got the graphics. Unbelievable. But yeah, a lot of the games you redefine keys, and when you click it, you just press up, down, left, right on your joystick, and it works. It tends to work a lot. Neo Geo CD, 94 games. Neo Geo Pocket, 10 games. Again, these are one that I was debating not to put on Pocket Color. A lot of Japanese stuff in it. PlayStation 1135. Number one game there. Let's random game it. Well, I'm not putting that on, it's crap. Devil Dice, I'm not with that. Oh my God. This'll do whatever that is. Inspector Gadgets, hang on. These as well with the emulators on the PlayStation. Same again, you can put them up to 1080p, you make them look a lot crisper than they did back in the day. A lot of the emulators, you can go up to like bloody 4K and 8K on them. I've sort of tried to find a niche on it, whereas you won't get any slowdown on any of the games. Incredible World of Dick. I don't know. Can't remember clicking that. And again, like you see, it's working. Come back out. But yeah, you've got most of your top games in here, like Gran Turismo, Grand Theft Autos, your Tekkens and all that sort of stuff. It's all in there. PlayStation 2, 444 games. Like I said at the start, you get a bit slow down. Odd ones, obviously, God of War. I'll load God of War 2 up actually, which is one of the most you need to burn out games. a lot of them systems you buy now as well, they say they've got like a PlayStation 2 emulated on them. 60,000 games PlayStation 2, and they're just absolute crap that don't load, don't play. So anyway, God of War 2. If I remember rightly, I put a save slot on this because it takes a while to load up, and then you have to sit and watch a video for ages. So you can save your games at any point. I think I did it here, so I started the actual game. Well, this is basically one of the most demanding games on PlayStation. With the graphics card in, it runs mint at 60 frames a second. This runs, you can see, quite a bit slow down on it. I'm saying this is one of the most demanding games. It's still not, it's still playable, but most of the other stuff I've clicked on run fine. Probably 1 in 10 got a bit of slow down what I tested. Takes ages to load. Some of the bigger PlayStation 2 games like this take a while to load. You put one of the smaller games on, they load in seconds. Like, whether it unzips them first and sort of packs them out or whatever. But anyway, we'll save slot it now. There you go. As you see, well, it's running down to 48 frames per second. I've left the counter on it. With the graphics card and it's flawless at 60. Not really playable, so I've got to world to. Unless I've got it set higher. To be fair, I might have left it set a bit higher resolution for the graphics card. We'll have a quick look. That's game options. Random resolutions on auto. That's what you want it on there. Whether it's on that or not. But anyway, PlayStation Portable, 629 games. Some really good games. These are upscale, brilliant PlayStation Portable games. They look really well. So one of them, if you press select on here, you can jump to any letter. One of them's the what I really like on PlayStation, the third birthday or whatever it's called. Looks really well. These all run flawless. You can set all these. These would go higher than 1080p on it, to be fair. They all run perfect at 1080p. But we're saying it's stretched from a handheld. The graphics are really good. Not easy. Well, look. Some really good games in PSP. Army of Two, stuff like that. I'll do some random game it here. Forward racing off-road. Gran Turismo, same as well, runs 1920 with 1080. 60 frames per second, never drops. Brilliant emulator, PSP is. That and Dolphin are probably the best two emulators for your GameCube and your PSP. Dead easy to alter settings in this as well. That's set on 1920 with 1080. Can't tell whether it's running full speed. Not far off, but it looks of it. Doesn't seem to be slowing down a great deal. But if you think it is, if you get that on that, oh, it's looking like that. Settings, go to your graphics, come down to render and resolution. It's on 3 times. So you put that on 2 times if you find it's running a little bit thing. It's as easy as that. Dead easy to go and make them look better. Got a really good system, loads of games in there. And that's it for that. And that's your lot. So the 500 gig 1 terabyte, and this is the 2 terabyte system.